Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Hope you're doing well. I know that these are very difficult times and around the world, and I just want to do a short video here on my thoughts about a few things. Now, I'm not going to get into politics. I'm not going to go left or right. I just genuinely am talking to your heart, and I want to be constructive. Now, during the pandemic, we did some very cool Facebook Live daily shows because it held us together. We were all scared, and in some ways, I feel like we need to do something similar now with 60 and Me to help you. But it's really, really clear from comments and just personal chats with people that it is a divisive time for people. Now, this is probably not going to be published until March. I'm recording it in February, but I don't think it's going to change. It might even be more challenging than it is at the moment. But basically, I want to start with shared values, not with politics. And I did this conversation in our Patreon supporters group to ask people what their values were, how they guided their life, what were the principles that they really lived by. And I think almost everybody had kindness somewhere in the top three. Being in kindness, it was kindness and trust, dignity, integrity, acceptance. I mean, there was all kinds of values that were very beautiful. And you look at those words and you think, there's no conflict here. There's no divisiveness at all. Everyone's agreeing that the values are the same. But then when you think about how they're acted out, I mean, even in our own community, I'm sure we have a separation of left and right and up and down and all the opposites you can imagine. But I think the first thing I want to chat about is, focusing, or at least articulating what your values are. Is it respect? Is it kindness? And then I guess the next question is, how do you express that? How do you express your values? Are they aligned to your actions? And I think that's probably where we kind of fall apart sometimes. But that's the first little project I'd like you to do right now. What are your 3 values that guide your life, guide your actions? And you can actually put those in the section underneath, because this whole conversation will be guided by that as a North Star. That's going to be our North Star, what your values are. So instead of focusing on the left and right and other variations of religions and whatever, we're just going to stay with those values. The first thing I want to talk about is moving the conversation from me to us, from I to we. And so, because so many people, when they're interpreting their values, will talk about what's good for me, what I agree, what I believe, what is my thought on this. And they just get locked in that perspective rather than looking at us, like what's good for us. Now, I have a degree in comparative religion. That doesn't mean I'm one way or the other, any direction, but I know for sure that the phrase, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, a variation of that is in every single religion in the world. Tell me one that's not. And that's what energizes me to think that if we can move the conversation from me, to us, we can see commonality and not division. I mean, I guess the point that it gets interwoven into this is your own life experience. So what is your life experience that might have validated your values or questioned them? And I think that's where we start to get into, this has affected me really badly, and it's because of you, as opposed to, we made a decision here, it's us. Let's work it out together. And I know that's a really tricky one to maneuver. I think that the other thing I would mention in this video is, as older women, most of us 60, 70 years old, we can be a voice of sanity in turbulent times. I've said this in other videos. I mean it sincerely. We have seen so much, right? We've seen the Cuban Missile Crisis. We've seen the world on the edge of destruction, and we've seen arguments and wars and battles. And we marched or not marched, supported or not supported, but we've been through it. We get it. And I think with that experience, we as older women become much more valuable in turbulent times, because we can talk as a voice of sanity and a voice of knowledge and experience, and not get into the drama. So we've seen cycles of change, fear, uncertainty, and I think that we can help. I think the other thing to think about is another tactic. These are just kind of some tactics, some ideas, is to look at division and arguments with a curiosity. instead of saying, I disagree with you completely, full stop, end of conversation. And as opposed to saying, can you help me understand why you feel that way? And then listen. I mean, you in your mind, what they think that person's going to say, but let them talk. Let them say something. Be curious. I want to learn. I want to understand how your version of what you believe in is something I should be paying attention to. Be curious. Okay, maybe you know exactly what they're going to say, and it's going to trigger all these kinds of automatic responses. But if you can just for a moment suspend that desire to fight back and just say, I get it, I understand. We actually have the same values there, but we just have a different approach to how we're going to get it. I mean, education is a really good example. We all want our kids to have great education, to be able to, whatever the kind of the measurement of what's the priority in the world, the level of technology or the level of whatever manufacturing, whatever the focus is, how can they get the skills that they're going to be able to get work and like it and love it, So I think the point I was making there is that we all want that to happen for our kids. Some people feel that it's in one direction. Other people feel that the education rhythm should be in a different direction to achieve the same goal. Well, hopefully, but free of any underlying agendas. Just be curious, and then if it's not what you believe, so thanks for sharing that with me. That's really helpful. And then move on. Do not try to control or change their point of view. That's never going to happen. And that leads me to the final point, which is our friend Mel Robbins. I must talk to her one day, but Mel Robbins, she wrote the book Let Them. And that whole phrase of just, you cannot change people who have a belief system that's so embedded in their lives, but you can learn and you can try your best to find a middle ground. And that book, Let Them, has really been pivotal for me to understand this, what you can control in your life and where you have to say, I can't have anything to do with this. I can't deal with it. Let them. And let them. And it all works out in the end, because we've seen that. I mean, that's another thing, we've seen it. We've seen how it all works out in the end, somehow. And I think the other philosophy that I've really been guided by, which has really helped me a lot, is Stoicism. And that is all about, just knowing what you can control and what you cannot control. You cannot control someone else's actions. You cannot control someone else's beliefs. You cannot control someone else's thoughts or a group's philosophy. You cannot control that. But what you can control is your thoughts. What you're going to do next, your actions, and how you're going to manage your emotions. That you can control that. You can control your emotions, you can control your responses, your thoughts, and you can control your actions. And I think we can get around those three things. I know it's not going to change immediately your relationship with someone, and you may need to take a pause. This may be the toxic relationship that we always talk about, that you might need to just take a pause. But I think trying to be connected in divisive times provides a foundation for a conversation that might be able to, bang my table, that might be able to help. What do you think? What do you think about this idea? Is there any hope? Let us know. By now, when I do these videos in advance, I always think, goodness me, what's going to be happening when the video actually goes out? It could be like a complete, resistance or opposition to what I've just said, but it could actually be supportive of what I'm saying. So I'm just giving you my thoughts as of today. What do you think? Is there room for conversation with people you don't believe in, really agree with, or beliefs you don't you don't share? Let's see what you think, everybody. Leave your comments below. Please, no political specific content, no religious content. They are programmed on our system to be removed because it's just not useful. We're not a platform for that. But if you've got a way of connecting and communicating better and you had a good experience, learn some lessons, let me know. We'd like to be sharing that with you. Love you guys so much. Take very good care of yourselves. Stay strong. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this as we always do. Lots of love.